Welcome to Courage on the Rocks, a space where stories flow like a good glass of whiskey. We're two best friends pulling back the curtain on all the conversations that usually happen behind closed doors.
From grief and love to dating, friendship, motherhood, and all the chaos of life in your 30s. We're diving into it all with honesty, humor, and a splash of courage.
This podcast is about real stories, ours, yours, and the incredible people we'll meet along the way. Whether you're here for inspiration, a fresh perspective, or just to hear from someone who gets it, we're glad you're with us.
So grab your favorite drink, hit play, and join us as we navigate the highs, the lows, and everything in between, one episode at a time. All right, so we are back on Poppy.
Yep.
Our last episode we had, what was it, strawberry lemon?
Yeah.
And this one's lemon lime. This one's, I think, supposed to taste more like Sprite.
Ooh, I just had one of these, but with a different brand. I'm like always.
Splice or Spice?
Splice, I'm pretty sure, is a horrifying movie.
Okay, what was?
Slice, which
What's
makes
the brand?
sense.
Okay, that's what I was like. Cheers.
Ooh.
Not Sprite at all.
We are not advertising this.
Not this flavor. I don't know. If you're
Disgusting.
lemon lime?
Not lemon lime. Don't go for Poppy. Go for Slice. Not Splice.
Although I like the strawberry lemon one. I'm interested
That
because I
one
know
was good.
That was a good one. And then they also had like an orange-sicle one. I'd be interested in that one.
Honestly, I feel like this is the easiest one to get right, and they did not.
They did not.
That doesn't even taste like lemon lime. I'm
Okay.
thoroughly disappointed. Regardless, welcome to Courage on the Rocks.
Yeah.
My name's Mariah. I'm here accompanied by Kill Bill.
Asian version of Kill Bill.
And we're so excited to have you today.
Literally, she walked in and looked at my outfit. She's like, "What?"
I was like,
Kill
you know
Bill.
we're going to be ninjas?
Yeah. No. This is one of my birthday suit set.
Birthday suit. Yeah, it's so white. I can't
Yeah.
get anywhere near that thing.
No, it was literally only for use for podcast record. Get your scrubby hands. Yeah, this is when we don't eat like Takis and stuff.
Yeah.
And this is because I don't have kids.
Enjoy the nice things in your life.
Right? Yes, I will. No, oh, you know what? This also reminded me of our last episode. We were talking about propaganda. You know how the first one we were talking about labels and stuff?
Yeah.
Lululemon.
Oh.
That was a big part of our 20s, like Lululemon, just this and this. This is not Lululemon.
I probably have a ridiculous amount of Lulu.
Okay, but
yes.
But tell them why. Half of them is.
Not even half.
Oh, yeah.
99% of all my Lulu is thrifted.
Yeah.
And it's bought from one of my old students who runs her own thrifting business online. By the way, her name's Nita Threads.
Go find
and
her.
She's amazing. Oh my God.
She's great.
I
Great
literally
finds.
get all of my stuff through her now.
Yeah.
And that's where I get all of my Lulu. When I say I have a lot, I mean like all of my yoga pants, except for literally my climbing joggers are Lulu. I even have full sets that I got from her that were Lulu. I've only bought one bra and one pair of leggings that were actually full price at Lulu, and I'll never do it again.
Yeah, no. Never subscribe to $90 bras.
Oh my God, crazy. Yeah, just like Victoria's Secret.
Yeah.
I won't do it. Not anymore.
Nope.
I really like Target. I'm not going to lie. Although, which is probably its own thing. That's
It's
propaganda
its own
right
thing,
there.
yeah, right. No, like there's so many
Right.
other stores that come out with it. Like Aries also has really cute undies as well.
I haven't.
Yeah. Anyways, propaganda.
Anyways, we are not talking about propaganda
We are not.
anymore.
This week episode is on
Random questions we're going to ask our best friend.
Yeah. We really liked last week's episode of like all these propagandas and like things that we don't subscribe to anymore.
Yeah.
And then she sent an Instagram reel about this voiceover and this guy asking like questions you don't normally ask, you know, like day-to-day questions or try to get a better understanding and
I would not define these as day to day.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, these are questions that when we're asked, like,
really
people don't talk about these questions anymore, or like even genuinely want to sit down, listen, and have a conversation about these type of topics, and you know. So, we picked questions that were really thought-provoking and also reflective on our lives.
Yes, and she has her own list of 5. I have my own list of 5. We don't know if they overlap. We don't know the questions. It's really going to test us on our impromptu speaking skills.
Yes.
Because we can impromptu well, but combining that with something that's actually really meaningful.
Yes, that's a little harder.
That might be really, really hard. So we're going to see how it goes. Yeah. And then rock, paper, scissors to see who...
rock, paper, scissors, so. And we do have a veto of, like, if we don't want to answer that question, we can say pass or move on to the next one. Give us time to think about that.
I feel like that's a Leona thing.
That's my thing.
Ask me anything, let's go.
Right? I've said it all, shared it all, which is not true. She might think of it. Okay. Wait, best 2 out of 3, just the first one.
First one, whoever loses has to answer
Is it
first.
rock, paper, scissors, show, or is it rock,
1, 2, 3, show? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, ready?
Rock, paper, scissors, show.
Okay,
that's so us.
So twist.
Okay, analyze this, please. Right? For scissors. Okay, ready? Rock, paper, scissors, show.
I knew. That's what I was originally going to do. And I was like, no, we think alike. And so I was like, why did I choose the one that was used to that? I should have gone.
Yeah.
I don't think that quickly.
Yeah.
I was only okay, that means you asked first.
Okay, that means me. Okay. All right, thoughtful questions. Mariah. Ooh, which one do I ask first?
Can we start like easier and then harder? Is there a progression?
No.
I don't think. I think mine goes from hard to hard.
Really?
All hard.
I've heard of that before.
I think it goes hard to wow.
It's really hard.
That's hard.
Life-changing hard.
Anyway.
Okay.
Life making hard.
Okay. Okay, talking about hardest. Let's go with this one. What emotion do you find hardest to express, and why do you think that is?
Oh, God. Publicly?
Yeah.
Hardest to express publicly. 100% sadness. Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like, you know, I don't cry in front of really anybody. For the most part. I have to feel really, really safe for you if I'm going to cry. You're lucky if you can get like a little tear drizzling, right? I can hold it in really well.
Yeah.
But
and when she say that, she's not lying.
lying.
I rarely see you.
And if I do, it's very intentional. So like the one time I've actually like fully cried in front of people, it was at Jorge's funeral. And it wasn't at any part. It wasn't like at every moment. It was the moment I was at the front of the church, the first pew. Everyone was behind me, or at least on the side of me. No one was looking directly in my face. And that was the one time I actually allowed myself to really like let go. But besides that, you're not going to see it from me.
Yeah.
At least right now. I think there could be healing moments, maybe.
Yeah.
But it was never something that was safe, right?
Yeah.
It was always like growing up like, oh, don't be a crybaby.
Yeah.
Really like take your emotions, bottle that shit up, put that deep inside, and then walk around like everything's okay, but not too happy. Don't be too happy, right? Rein it in. You don't want people looking at you, right? But don't look like you're depressed and sad.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So like be somewhere in this middle.
Where people don't have to gauge anything.
Yeah, they don't have to gauge anything. You're controllable, right? So that's why. And then
that's a good one.
You know, taught that it's not safe to cry in front of a lot of people.
Yeah. That's a good emotion. Yeah, good answer. Okay, we're going to put a pin on this real quick. Can you go double check to make sure I press record? We're just going to double check. We're good. All good. Okay, perfect. Okay.
Okay. Did you want to answer that question?
Yeah, okay. What emotion do I find hardest to express publicly? I would have to say... And when I think of this, I think of like Inside Out and those emotions and stuff. And I think for me, it would have to be anger. Like,
Ooh.
I don't publicly show display of anger, because I feel like I have this idea in my head that like if I publicly show that I'm angry, then that has a huge negative reflection of who I am and myself.
Yeah.
So I try to keep everything like prim and proper and like hide that until I find like a safe space, or until I get back to Chris and vent, or I get to you and I vent about it. But like if something had just really pissing me off, like I just don't feel like I can show anger, like blowing up anger. I know like some people, they need that, but like I have never felt that I can do that.
Yeah, I think it's hard. Anger was the second one. It was like, oh, is it sadness or is it anger?
Yeah.
I feel sad so much more than I do angry. But at the same time, it's like, it is that if you show anger, you need to show it correctly.
Yeah.
If you do it wrong, then that's a bad reflection on you. And it's not just how you express it physically, it's how you verbalize it, right? And then how do you verbalize that correctly?
Yeah,
When
in
you're
a proper way.
mad.
Yeah. Welcome to our window.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was my anger running by.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. It's one that like
it's a hard one.
It's hard. Like as a society, we view it like we understand that that's an emotion, but that's a private emotion.
And if you're a woman and you're angry, you're a Karen.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like or you're being dramatic.
Yeah.
Or it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, you're taking it too personal.
You're on your period.
Yeah.
You need to relax.
There's a reason why.
Right.
And I can only imagine what that's like for like people of different race as well, because I know there's a huge stigma of like African American women and like their anger and things. Like no, they're just being human. They're being women. They're a person. Yeah. Like that's an emotion we can feel.
Right.
So it's like emotion, anger.
Yeah, I know for me when I get really angry, I want to cry. So then that's the combo of like we're over here like, oh, you know, sadness is hard to display, anger is hard to display. But if you really make me mad, I want to cry. That's the worst scenario we can
cry
have.
and break shit together.
Right? That's bad.
Yeah.
Okay, my turn.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, this one, I feel like this one's soft. What's something you've learned about yourself this year?
Gosh, this year, where are we in May? 5 months? I've learned, and I think I learned it from a combination like my mom and Chris, patience. Like,
you think you've learned patience this year?
Oh, I think to some degree, yes, of like just slowing it down. And living through the season of patience. Yeah. You know, I feel like the past couple of years, I've been on this mentality like go, 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 and do. And, but understanding like, just calming body and patience, and like things will come and go, and just, you know, I don't know if I'm expressing it correctly, but
I think you are. I think it goes back to like being present.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, just being in a space in which people can come to me if they need it, or I'm finding people to go to if I need it.
Oh, I feel like also I feel like the roles kind of really switch, right? Like I feel like you finally got to space where you're just like, oh, I'm content. Yeah, this feels good. Can I stay in this for a while? Right? I feel like that's where you're at.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, that would be a one.
I love that for you.
Oh, yeah. It took work though.
Yeah.
It took work.
Yeah.
But
just like everything.
Yeah. Patience and just enjoying my life right now. Yeah. And the people in it.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
My next question for you. Okay, this might be an easy one as well. Okay. How has your definition of success changed over the years?
Well, it hasn't changed. I think you need to make about $500,000 a year, and I think you need to have all the most fanciest things.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you and fancy. That is not true.
Bougie. I'm bougie.
Yeah.
No, my definition of success, which is funny. I have a similar question. It doesn't. Your example of success isn't the amount of money that you make, right? It's not, if I don't make, $100,000 or 200,000 or 500, whatever your number is. I feel like everyone's got a number.
Everyone's got a number.
If you don't make that, that doesn't define your success.
Yeah.
For me, I think parenting is like, that is my job, right? Like everything else I do, that is just a means to make sure my parenting goes well.
Yeah.
But my success is how well I parent for Leo, and I provide emotional support, financial support, all those things for his well-being.
Yeah.
And then what then does that produce for the world? Not just like his production, right? It's not, oh, what is he going to go do for the world now? It's who he becomes, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about souls here, right? So like it's creating beautiful people who help create the world more beautiful.
Yeah.
Right? And
creating that generational
that,
success.
Right? Generational success, you have to be internally like that, right?
Yeah.
So my success is how well can I hone in on myself and my purpose and you know who I am inside, right? Naturally, instinctually.
Yeah.
And giving that to my son and nurturing him in the way that he needs it for who he is.
Yeah.
And then allowing him to grow and give life to the world, right?
Yeah.
Like that's how it is now. Before it was.
But I think your season will change too as Leo continues to grow up, and he's going to find his own life and path and like his success of his life. As we continue into our decades, like it's going to change as well.
Well, and so like part of that, like the essence of all of that is like, what are you giving the world? And it's like not necessarily like, oh, I created this, and so the world has this.
Yeah.
But I think like the podcast is an example of that. Like this is a huge success.
Yes.
We don't get financial gains out of this.
No.
Right?
Although if you would like to pay us for advertisement.
Our Venmo is
Poppy, please sponsor.
Right. Yeah. You're gonna love us. Right?
Yeah. It's definitely, it's not.
But like to be able to like to know who you are and to live that fully, that I think is real success as well.
Yeah.
And so I think it's like really like complex and intersectional, right? It weaves in. But it's not any of the productive crap that the world tells you it is.
Yeah.
It is so much more internal.
Yeah.
That affects other internal pieces.
Yeah. And I think like if I were to answer this question, I would like agree 100% with all that you're saying. But I also would add on like it's no longer a label thing for us.
Yeah.
It's no longer a label, that marker that determines that I'm successful.
Wife, check mark. Mother, check mark. X amount of money per year, check mark. Right.
It's
I
no
have
longer
this car.
Like this is the definition of what's supposed to be success in my life. It's like, no, those are not the markers that defines who you are. Because at the end of the day, you know, God forbid when we have our celebration of life, they're not going to say, oh, she had this type of car. Oh, she had this. No,
she bought her house before she was 30.
Yeah. It's not the conversations about that. It's a conversation of who she was as a person, the impact that she made on the people that are there to celebrate her life. You know?
It's people first.
Yeah, it's people first.
Yeah.
So those are our markers of success.
Yeah. And the people you put first it's you.
It's you.
Right, that's the person.
Yeah.
You know.
Little Liana, little Mariah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Put them first.
Dang.
Good one.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. My turn. Okay. What does healing look like for you right now?
Healing. I think healing for me is acknowledging the time periods in my life, like holding space for that, letting it become a part of my life, sitting with it, resting with it, listening to it, and then letting it go. For me in my life, letting it go, because and you and I have had a conversation about relationships that are coming in and out of our lives, and whether it's family, siblings, friends, like healing for me, and like this is multiple years now I've been working on this relationship with my siblings, and like I used to hold so much anger and resentment, like I'm not understanding and no clarity and just sadness, just deep sadness of like how I see other people in their relationship with their siblings or their family members, like, God, how come I don't have that? You know, I had that feeling, but I think this year I was sitting in with like being content and being just at peace with what's going on in my life and how I'm making my life happy, and just sitting with what's happening to me and reflecting on like they're living their lives, or they have their own stories to tell. They are walking their paths, and it's just right now we're not walking with each other's paths. So like for that healing portion of it, it's just just being reflective and being at peace with it.
It was really beautiful. I feel like that you saying that is also part of your healing.
Acknowledging that,
like that was a good acknowledgement. For you,
Yeah, and I think I've had conversation about like how hurt we can by the people closest to us, how hurt we can get.
Oh man.
Right, and like because of how close they are originally to us, how much more of an impact when they walk away, or when they make choices that affects us, or when they make choices that we're no longer part of their lives at this point. How painful that is, you know, like, but also understanding that it's their choice. It's what their life is about right now. It's, it's their season, and we will continue to live our season in our lives. And I firmly believe that people come back into our lives for a host of reasons as well. So I'm making space and time for that. Yeah. And hoping that comes back. So that's my healing journey.
I'm proud of you for that.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm still working on that one.
Okay, but that's healing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's always like in progress. Mm-hmm. Well, it's not always in progress. That's the choice. It's always there. But you have to like tap into it. So I think like for me, healing is like kind of what you just said, which is like to have such an awareness around your own life and see the phases that you're in and what's coming in, what's coming out, kind of where you're being led to, what path, what direction. I don't know how many people are really like sitting that present in their lives. Yeah. And it's like it's an active thing you have to do. Yeah. You're not just like going through the motions. Okay, drop kid off here, going to work. I have all this to do. I have to go home, cook food, laundry, bed, all again. I have soccer on the weekend, right? Yeah. That's a lot of people. Yeah. I used to be like that, right? But like to actively be aware of the relationships, all of these movements that are happening, and seeing yourself almost from like externally of like this progression, or okay, I'm taking some steps back. Why is this happening? To be like an outside viewer on that, not as a judger, but just to observe, and then you can assess like, okay, what do I need here then? And like, why am I maybe going into a certain direction? Yeah. And also like if you're sitting in something that's uncomfortable, healing is continuing to sit in that, but also asking really good questions to help get you out of that. Yeah. Right? It's not, why did this happen to me? Right? Why did I deserve this? Yeah. Right? Those aren't the questions you ask, right? Yeah. It's what this happened. What am I gonna do now?
Yeah. What's next?
What's next? And then how do I get there?
Yeah. And how do I respond to this? That's gonna be the best for me. Yeah. And for my relationship and the people that are close to me. Yeah. 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 That was a good one. Yeah. All right, next question. Mine is, let me choose this one. Okay, this one says, who in your life has shaped your character the most, and what did they teach you?
Oh.
Who has shaped your character the most?
My character the most. That one I really have a hard one with.
And what did they teach you?
Does God count as a person?
Let's do somebody on this planet.
Let's do somebody on this planet.
He's all around. He will always change you.
So for me, I think it would probably like be my aunt. Yeah, feeling that's where that was going. Yeah, my Aunt Cherish. I'm very observant of people. I think it's been one of like a really good skill to like help keep me safe. Yeah. my therapist would be like, well, let's talk about that more, right?
Yeah.
I'm observant because I've dealt with other things in my life that I knew I had to be safe from, right? So it's a protective mechanism.
Oh, yeah.
But I've been able to work that out really well in my life because it helps guide me where I want to be versus actions or things that I don't want to do or end up in certain places.
Yeah.
So I observe where to go, right? For my aunt, she's always been someone who like isn't just someone who like she lives a beautiful life, right? She's got an incredible family. They make good money. But it's their values and their morals that like I've always been
and their
like
ethics.
Their ethics. I'm always drawn to that. Mainly because I didn't really see that in my own personal life, and I question that. And then when you see someone who has this thing that you know is good and you don't have that for some reason, you're like, why do you have that, right? How do you get that?
How did you get that?
Right? How can I do that? You know? And so like I will always be watching her and their life and looking at why, you know, what decisions did they make? Why did they make those decisions? Being able to have a conversation with her. So like for her, like how she raises her family, how she raised her daughters, how she goes about raising each one individually, her marriage with her husband, right? Her relationship with her own sibling that they don't always get along with, or they really don't see eye to eye on things, or her parents who she struggled with a lot of things growing up that I also struggle with. And how does she navigate things that and ensure that you still have a really tight family unit, but morals and values are not being crossed, right? So like I take her and always go to her because I don't know what I'm doing in life. She didn't when she did those things, but it showed me that she now knows that that's accurate, right? So I go to someone who knows and has experienced a thing that I'm working really hard to have. And then one of the most important things that she's taught me is to own your power. And like I take that to the grave with me today, and it's the reason why we have a podcast. Why I'm where I'm at right now. Personal life, work, friendship. We are women and we have our own power, and it's different. Yours is different than mine, but you have to own it, and it's okay to own it. It's okay to have confidence. It's okay to be loud and to be glamorous space. And to take up the space, and to be that full version. And I also think that's how you find who you are in the process. And you should claim who you are. You know? So sit in your power.
I like that.
Yeah.
I know that about your aunt and you and like and that relationship and that dynamic. So when I was doing that, that definitely would have been my answer for you as well. Someone who has been there all your life, you know, and showing what a great example, what all that is and the things that you aspire to be. And I think you're manifesting it all. You know, in a few decades, you'll look back and it's like, wow, I've accomplished and like I'm exactly who I'm meant to be with the support and guidance and the vision of her life as well.
Yeah, I love it. She does it. She's never once tried to make me small. I have a whole family who's tried to make me small, and it's not because they intentionally like necessarily wanted to do that. But she never once tried to make me small. She's always like, go bigger, Mariah.
She
be
sees
bigger,
your potential.
be you. She sees it. She's seen it all along, right? But she truly sees it. And it's really wholesome to feel seen, like fully seen.
From someone who's been part of your life since day one.
Yeah,
I think that's really beautiful. Very good.
Did you want to answer that one?
Oh gosh, who in my life has shaped your character the most, and what did they teach you? I think this one's hard because like when I put this question, I really just thought about your response, not my response.
I know that's I know. That's why I'm not answering some of mine. Like,
what was my response? I don't know. If I had to be honest with myself and who I am currently, I feel like there's been multiple people in seasons of my life who have really shaped who I am. And I would like attribute significant moments in my life and the changing that happened based on the person walking with my path and with me, next to me. So unfortunately, I can't like pinpoint one person, but I know they're like the big ones are my parents. Like from the moment I was adopted till today, they've been a part of my life as well. But and I think that's a touchy subject as well for an adopted person as well. Like my life didn't really begin until I was adopted, but also like I had the first 5 years of my life, as like you and I both know like the development of the first 5 years of a child is so important. So I know like that's still currently affecting my life currently as well. But like who they were and the decisions that they made and the things that they envisioned for us in the future, the financial capacity they have to put all 6 kids through marriage, college, whatever life choices that we made, they were able to save and help support us with that. That's a huge privilege. That crazy. I mean, it's just, I'm not even sure. I hesitate, I guess, but I'm not even sure like all of my siblings and I have acknowledged and thanked them for that, because that like, and I have had other people in my life who were given nothing. And my siblings and I were extremely privileged to be growing up in an environment in which we have both of our parents at home taking care of us, providing us for what we needed. Although granted, like there's different versions of providing things, that's a whole other conversation. But for what we needed for our life, definitely had them through that stage of my life. And I think for the past 10 years, like you would attribute to be a huge character of who I am, a reflection of who I am. We grew together from college, what in our 20s, understanding each other and looking back, and like I had you in this idea of like, oh, she found love, she had this marriage, she had these kids, like I want that. I'm like aspiring to that, but also like understand like you found empowerment, you found growth, you found your identity through all of these things in your life, and like that for me will always continue to be my driving force. Like even in the face of severe grief and trauma and things, like you are still growing and healing from that. Like, God, if she can go through that, like, can you imagine like what I can do in the event something like should happen to me and like in my life? Like, I know I can always count on you to help support me, because you're like, I understand that feeling. I know that grief. I know that shit. I can do it, So like, like you have been a part of that one. And I think the other one right now is Chris, in this new chapter, new phase of my life. I know like he is going to be my person, and through all the uncertainty of what's to come in my life, and like relying on him and being his emotional support and him being my emotional support as we navigate these new roles that we're going to be coming into. So different people, different seasons of my life has changed.
I love that. Oh, you're gonna get all mushy. Oh God. Okay.
2 episodes of us being mushy, but we love it. Yeah.
What do you mean? Like your whole thing's mushy?
Our whole thing's mushy too. Yeah.
If you don't want to feel feelings, don't listen to our podcast. Okay. What's something you wish more people understood about you?
Oh gosh.
Don't tap out.
I'm like, do we have
don't red line right now. Don't tap out. What's one thing you wish people understood? Well, what's something you wish more people understood about you?
Gosh, that's a hard one. I mean, there's one thing I feel like I wish people would understand, and I think it happened to my relationship previously of leaving my old site and my siblings' relationship of these past few years of I wish people understood that I came from good intent, of just genuine, kind-hearted intent, like no malice, just trying to understand how to navigate things I couldn't control. I could not control whether I stayed at that school or not. That was out of my control. And I was so pissed off, so angry for it, and resentment for it, of like building this relationship with all of these colleagues and friends and memories and spending time and energy putting my life, I thought, into this work. And I thought that like, that's what it had to be. Only for it to blow up in my face, only for it to not work out the way I thought it was going to work out. Being scared that like, if I do leave and it was not out of choice, But when I do leave, I'm going to lose all of these relationships and all these things that I have built so hard for and driven for, and like trying to find this community. And then actually having that actually follow through, like losing that was really hard for me. And then witnessing it, that their relationship is continuing on through social media and all these other things, like understanding and working through that pain, that loss of that community, and understanding like, I have to go find that somewhere else. And I did find that through like rock climbing and through my current school, and like finding the boundaries of that, and like where that came from, and understanding people like, I did not choose that. I came out of good intention of like, that was not chosen for me. But my relationship and who I am is, I'm trying to heal myself. And like, I'm trying to understand, like, I am trying to be good. I'm trying to be, just con me. Like, there's no malice behind the decisions that I've made for my life.
Yep.
And I think the same thing comes with my relationship with my siblings. And, you know, you and I had that conversation, is we're in this period, and not all siblings are like this, but right now my siblings are in this period of time in which there's you are living your life and I don't want to be part of your life, you know? And that was so hard for me. I think growing up with a big families of, I'm going to go intertwine and know everything and have conversation, have these debates and have these conflict, and like, it's just open and like have this big, strong relationship, only for it to be broken down. Like, now we're all growing up. Now we're all having our lives. And I know they're having their lives. I know they're making these choices and experiencing these things. But like, now it's like, I'm private. You are no longer allowed into this space. You are only allowed to it if I invite you in. You know, and like, it's hurt, and like, I don't mean to have that, and I wish that they would communicate with that. If they think that's coming how I'm reflecting that, I wish they would communicate like, that's not my intention. My intention is like, I'm trying to be open and honest, and trying to understand like, I'm coming from good intention. I'm trying to live my life, and I would love it if you are part of it in a genuine way, if you are a part of it in a kind and understanding way. Like, there's no malice behind what had happened in the years. Like, I would just want growth from here. I want you a part of my life. But if it's not going to happen, like, then it's out of good intention that this is going to be our relationship for this season. So, yeah. That's a hard one.
It reminds me a lot of the book that I'm trying to read. Good Inside. Right? The basis is that we're all good inside, right? But like, these events that happened in your life, I'm currently going through one right now, where there's a separation. But it's like, there's this judgment that's placed upon you, of, oh, Liana is this or did this, X, Y, and Z. When the reality is we are good people. We are good inside. We are trying to move forward in the best way that we possibly can, right? But we can't control narratives that are all around us. And it's incredibly hurtful when people we love choose to believe in these narratives or make these narratives. But knowing who you are, who we are, and living your life and moving forward in that is kind of like the best thing that we can do. And, you know, I hope, you know, and I know, like, eventually, like, as you said, people make their way, they move in and out for reasons, right? And sometimes that reason has less to do with us and more to do with the things that they're working on. Right? Some people don't want to sit in the hard, right? They're like, oh, wall done. I'm going to go live my life and not think about us or you or, you know, versus like actually sitting in it for a minute. Let's work through this. But yeah, when I was thinking of that question, immediately in my head was, I had really good intentions. Right? Like,
good intentions.
Good intentions. Does that mean like everything that we do is the correct?
No.
No.
Not at all.
But it's about one, being human, talking things through to people,
and giving us the benefit of the doubt. We, especially our siblings relationship, like, we have grown up together. We were raised together. We have gone through and seen things and experienced things together. And like, at this season of my life, it's just so hard that they're not giving us the benefit of the doubt. They're not willing to have those conversations. Just shut it down. Like, no, I need a break. And like, how long is that? A couple of years, couple of lifetime? How many kids do I need to have for you not to be in their lives? How many seasons of my life do you have to go through for you not to be here? You know, I think the biggest thing is like when we have those holidays, the gatherings and stuff, and when they're not there for that, it's just like, it hurts just as much, because it just proves that like they're living their life and spending these holidays and special moments, but like we're not privileged enough to be a part of that story. And it's like that healing and that like good intentions, but not able to explain it. So I wish people understand, like, we do come from good intentions. You know, so.
I agree.
Yeah. We're working on that. Yeah. All right. My question to you. Oh, wait. Did you answer that one?
Kind of.
Kind of did.
Yeah.
Okay.
By saying I agree.
Okay. I agree. Okay. Okay. My question to you is, what does a life well lived look like for you from now?
Oh, girl.
Yeah.
A life well lived is kind of going back to the concept of like not making myself smaller, leaning in to the things that like the calling that I feel. Like I feel little nudges and I'm like, oh, I feel like that's for us, you know? And like listening, you know?
Making space for that to grow.
Making space for that growth. And like, if I want to bear with me. If I want to wear sundresses and paint in a garden for like 2 months, I'm going to go do that. Even if my painting is trash.
Oh, we have artwork to prove it.
I'm bad, right? But like whatever that nudging that's like, I feel like my soul needs this. I want to be her and do that thing, right? So whatever it is, whether it's traveling with my kid or building this really cool part of my program at work or ditching it all and going off and living a completely different life that we never would have thought Mariah would have lived, but it's the best for my child and my partner, whatever. And we're just like, we feel a calling. We're going to do this, right? Listening is, I think that's a life well lived. Because God, the experience that you get through that, the things you learn about yourself, the friendships, the love, the relationship, like everything, like to be more fully you as possible. Because I don't think anyone, at least in our general vicinity, is really taking that approach in life.
It's hard.
It's so hard. It's so hard. It is a privilege.
It's so hard when so much society is putting pressure and like other expectations.
Oh, I agree. I agree. And that's why I'm like, okay, to have a fully lived life, like, is to also like fully know yourself. Like I think that's where I'm at, is like, and I want to set that example for my son. You know, and the feeling of wholeness and completeness and joy, I think that's where that comes from. You know, and then you stop relying on all these external factors. It's like, oh, I love being me. Right? Like,
and I think it makes other people around you realize like, oh, I want to be like her. I want to be that genuinely happy and content and like at peace with myself. That's a good one. I think like if I were to answer the question, I would add all that, and also I would add the idea of like, for me personally, it's my service to other. Like I feel like life is well lived when I feel like I have a purpose to serve others, and I'm genuinely uplifting others, and like my purpose in life is to help grow, and I think that grows with me. I grow through helping others. You know, like for you and I in this past year, I grew so much by helping you through this phase and through your life. And I like Chris and I help him by tapping into the emotions and things that like the lived experience that he's had in his life, and like what he's given me and empowering me being in this relationship and stuff. So like for me, a life well lived is the people who's in my life who I'm genuinely impacting and supporting and nurturing and like fulfilling my soul, and being at peace with it all. You know, like even if it means helping and supporting my younger sibling and her kids, or my parents, or having them a part of my life, like that just, it makes me happy when I can do Sunday dinners with them. You know, it makes me happy, and it makes me at peace and calm when I know like that brings them joy of having their kids around. Like I like that I get to make them happy and like to share a part of my life with them and share my life with you. it makes me feel like I am wanted just as much as they are wanted. You know, I'm fulfilling their bucket as well as like I'm filling my bucket.
Love that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Your turn.
My turn. All right, you ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What's a moment that made you feel truly seen?
Oh, God.
You can't tap out because I'm going to make this my last question.
Okay. Truly seen. I think, I don't know. That's a hard one. Truly seen.
That is hard.
It's hard because I think different aspect in my personality, like a career Liana and a workplace environment is different than outside on the weekend Liana as well.
Oh.
You know, like career wise, I genuinely believe my principal has good intentions about her faith in me. And I feel seen when I go to her and I'm able to be vulnerable, saying like, this really hurt me, or like, I'm feeling this. That's when it's seen. But personally though, I think a moment would be, gosh, it's hard. There's two I'm really debating about of like the first multi-pitch that we ever did, that moment and that clarity of like putting yourself in a space like that of just grit, physical grit that I've never been pushed to do. And that vulnerability of like putting yourself on the side of a mountain is so new and so like discomforting. And be able to cry through that. And also it's like, I'm crying, but I'm climbing, but I'm gonna get there. And like, I know, right? And like, I can do this. And then making it to the top and having the conversations. And like, I remember like Ryan and I were waiting for you guys to come back, and it was just like at peace with understanding like this moment and like what this meant to me. But also like another thing I think that was truly me was the podcast about my adoption. I think that for me was just like a moment where I understood like, oh my God, I'm tapping into this. I'm like really acknowledging what happened to me in my life the first 5 years. And like, I think since that episode, I've been more transparent with people who come up to me and talked about like, I listened to that episode. Like that was just so beautiful. I didn't know that about you. And like realizing I really don't share that part about me. And like, because of that episode, like so many more people know about my story and being, present and okay with sharing that and having those conversations about it, and like the realities of what it was really like for someone who is adopted in such a traumatic way as well. So yeah, those two events, I think, really who I was and sharing who I was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I love your responses. Oh my God. That's not where I almost feel like also like that was you saying all of that is how you were saying that like you were seeing yourself for the first time too in those examples.
In those, right? Yeah, both of those.
It's not just like being seen by others, which is how I meant it. It was I saw myself here, you know.
I think like being seen by others, I'm always trying to strive for that. I'm always working on that, and we're always like reflecting on it. Like how are others seeing us? How do they view us?
Right.
But the clarity for me and the growth for me is like what I see in myself and my growth and my capabilities and like where my history is coming from and how that's still impacting me today. And like knowing like that multi-pitch, my physically, mentally, my body was just like, oh my God, we're doing this. And then like learning and growing for that and putting myself physically vulnerable with someone, trusting them with that. So, yeah. So
excellent answers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
Oh, you're making me like not sure anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How you would, what was the question? Be seen?
What is the moment where you felt seen?
Felt seen.
Yeah.
There's some moments I feel like I know that like I've been a part of your life and I got to witness like you actually being your genuine self.
Yeah.
But I mean they might be different than what you think.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it's weird because I feel like I've like really transitioned into kind of this different version.
Yeah.
And like I feel like I've been on this like journey of showing myself without not for people to see me, but for me to just own myself, right? And the version that I've always wanted to be and dreamed of being, but just couldn't get out of that shell. But that shell completely evaporated and disintegrated, right?
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, we're gonna be me, and we're gonna see that it's safe.
Yeah.
Right. So like I kind of think of like we're in the climbing gym, right? There are moments in the climbing gym where I'm just like, it's really like happy, like rambunctious.
Yeah.
Sarcastic,
quirky self.
Quirky self. But that's like completely Mariah off leash.
That's not professional. You see Marcel Mariah.
No, it's not. But like I love that version of me. It reminds me of like little Mariah.
You have to have that childlike feeling.
You do.
You have to.
You do. But like just as like you said, like at work, like we both have really good bosses, and I feel seen at work. I feel valued for the things that I am so ready and able and am contributing and building this thing,
and that they could see that potential in the both of us.
They can see that.
And it takes a great leader to do that.
But oddly, the one thing that I keep coming in my head, it's like in my head, is that moment. I'm not going to share too much because it's super personal. But it was the moment with Parker, where we had like, we'll say we kissed the first time, right? That's not implying anything, guys. But like it was like we had a very long moment in which like we were just staring into each other's eyes and just like really embracing each other, not wanting anything else, not asking for anything, just only wanting to be in each other's presence and just embracing each other. And I think for me I remember texting you like, oh my God, like I don't know what just happened. I'm never experiencing like that. We literally just held each other for like, I think like 4 hours. Like it was ridiculous. But I just remember saying like how like I just felt so seen and like held and like protected and nurtured and loved and
and even all without asking for it too. I remember you had mentioned that like without even asking, he did all that, and I was just like, wow, that's a moment.
It's incredibly beautiful.
Oh, good response. Well done. I like it. Very good. So if you haven't done so, we recommend creating these questions. Even if it's like either for like a friend or your significant other and partners. Like I can think about like these thoughtful questions and even asking Chris about it.
Yeah, you totally should.
Yeah, you know, and like we recommend that. It's so cathartic and so healing to be able to have these kind of conversations, but also like just get a deeper understanding of who you're sharing your life with, and like just reflecting on yourself as well. Because like you said, every day to day, we're having something, we're trying to accomplish something, but like we need these moments to quiet and sit and reflect and like to heal our body and heal our soul. For you and I, it's talking through it and really being reflective on it as well. So
it is.
Well done for us.
It is. This reminds me, I had just watched an episode, or listened to an episode with Parker with Mel Robbins, where she sat down with her husband, and they talked about 3 things that I think was the biggest lessons they learned in like their 30-year marriage.
Wow.
And they both had their own 3. But it was this like really beautiful conversation that they had, incredibly intimate, that you get to be a part of. And it was really just, it kind of showcases how amazing this could be when you're talking to your spouse. And the doors that can open up, the connection that's possible when you allow for that opportunity.
And I think it deepens your relationship and your understanding of each other and your vulnerability and being able to trust this person with your whole life. It's like, and the fact that like they walked through decades together and had 3 different answers and responses. Like, I think that just tells you how much growth a person can make in a relationship like that.
For sure.
Very cool.
Yeah, so we hope you have courage to go in your own lives and ask yourselves these questions.
The tough questions, the thought-provoking ones. Yeah, enjoy it. Stay at peace, everyone.
Yep. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks for tuning into Courage on the Rocks.
Until next time, hold on to your courage and we'll see you soon. Cheers!